So hi, welcome to the Good Nights Podcast through Kulick. We're gonna ask some questions today. I'm gonna start. So what inspired you to start the project, and then why'd you choose your last name to be the project name?
So I was in a cover band since high school, so that's like 2010 for me. Graduated in 2010. So I had a band then. We had a bunch of names and everything. And when I eventually got the deal to do a solo project, I went over a bunch of different types of names to pick from, and like one was gonna be like Silas, one was gonna be Silo, one was gonna be Madison Mill, like all of them were like terrible. So I was like, no. And I honestly just wanted to keep Jacob Kulick, but it was kind of like recommended from the label to just have it as one word.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of dropped my first name, and that way it can kind of be a band if I wanted it to be. So kind of a mixture of both. It's like me, but it's also band sounding. So I don't regret it.
All right,
Yeah.
good.
All right, cool.
No regrets if it's your last name.
Exactly. Yeah. So, congrats on your upcoming release, Yelling in a Quiet Neighborhood. How do you feel the response to it to the people you've shown it to so far, since at the time of recording, it isn't out?
So the actual album comes out on the 16th. We released Rope so far, and we released Talking to the Ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So another single coming out on Wednesday called The Way I Am, and then we have another single coming out the day that the record's released. What was your question about that? How do people receive it?
Yeah, how have the people that you've shown it to so far received it so far?
Really well. I'm actually like much surprised with the reaction. Like everyone seems to really like Rope, and Talking to the Ceiling, a lot of people seem to have like an emotional response to, which is kind of cool. So yeah, overall I'm positive. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
As you should.
We got a chance to listen to it early, and I've been following you since the Andy Black tour. I saw you guys in New Jersey, and then like have been a fan since. And I listened to the record. I was like, "Holy shit, this is good!" I liked it a lot.
Thank you. Where'd you see us? Asbury Park?
Yeah, Asbury Park at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And then
that
I caught you.
The most different venue I've ever seen and played at.
Yeah, we talked to the Fame as well, and they also said that was a highlight of the tour, going to that venue because it was such a weird venue to play at. Yeah. And then I also saw you guys at the brewery in December, so that was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That was also a different show too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for this record?
Sure. Most of the songs were written by myself. Some of them I co-wrote with a few friends, and I pretty much just start the production on a laptop, whether it's acoustic or singing or lyrics or just a sample. They all differ. And then I took all of those ideas and we went to Los Angeles in December, and we kind of just like, I call it like putting sprinkles on it. Like we kind of like just wrapped it up, finished it, put some live drums on it, and kind of added whatever it needed there. So it kind of got its professional finishing and mastering and all that stuff and mixing out there.
Okay.
But for the most part, it was pretty much just written here in Pennsylvania and wherever I went with my laptop.
Oh,
solid.
Very cool.
So where's your headspace while creating it?
I basically started writing it as soon as I got done that Andy Black tour. So that was about May of 2019. And there was just a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that I just kind of had to write about. There was just a lot of like closure that needed to be that needed to happen, and it was difficult for me to kind of understand what I was going through. So writing about it really helped, and I think the realness of that really comes through the record. So I hope that if someone else is also going through something like that, they kind of relate to it and use it for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Since we keep on bringing up this Andy Black tour, I actually want to ask how that opportunity came about.
Pretty simple. We have a booking agent at United Talent Agency. So basically, for those who don't know how most people get tours, is we have a booking agent and they just pitch us to any tour that makes sense. I don't know how to pronounce the band's name, but Payal Royale.
Palais.
Palais.
Yeah, I can't pronounce. Yeah, like we were supposed to, like that was like an opportunity we put in for. It was the same way we got the Sleeping with Sirens tour too, and did the acoustic tour. Okay. It's literally just business like that, where they just pitch us to all these bands, and then, you know, it's kind of like the lowest bidder, but also who fits with them. You know.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So what band or artist influences do you think you can hear the most on this record?
I honestly don't know. I go into every song kind of with the core song, and then it kind of just creates itself. So, I mean, I grew up listening to Tom Petty. He has a lot of very storyteller songs, so I hear some of that in there. Production wise, it's a little 21 Pilots, a little Imagine Dragons, but not as much as like Ghost and Colors. It's a little more organic. It's a little more. Some songs are more like Kings of Leon-ish leaning. I'll probably continue going in that direction. Would be my guess too.
Okay. Yeah, I do like the direction you're going in, because that EP was a little bit more pop, and this one is just a little bit more, I guess, you sounding almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the most proud of this one because I self-produced this record, and the Hydroplane EP was a great starting EP, and I have no problems with that record, and I love that record. There's a lot of good songs on it, but a lot of those songs were produced by other people, where it was kind of like I went into a studio, I sang the lyrics, I left, and then they sent me mixes later, and I was like, okay, sounds cool, now it's out. Whereas this one was like, okay, my hands are on every single thing, so that's why I said it was shocking when people liked Rope and liked Talking to the Ceiling. Because I'm like, oh shit, like I fucking made that. Cool. Like, all right, like that feels much different, you know? So yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I didn't know you did that. That's okay, cool.
Yeah, the whole record is that Talking to the Ceiling was one that like the whole band played on. But for the most part, it's just like there's like 80 tracks per song, and all 80 tracks are like what I wanted in it. So it was the first one where. So if there's anything that also sounds corny, it's also my fault. So.
Wait, so would you choose to do that again for your next release?
Yeah, I don't think I'll do anything other than that. If anything, I'd co-produce with other producers, which I also tried to do with this record. A lot of the producers that we tried to get to work on it, they kind of just wanted their hands on it more, and I didn't want to do that again. I already did that, so.
Yeah, been there, done that. Easy. Yeah. So what made you choose the name Yelling in a Quiet Neighborhood, and is there any meaning behind the cover art?
So the name, actually, so all of the single artwork I did with April Rose Gabrielli, who she plays keys in the band. She's also going to have her solo project coming out. Ooh. And did all the artwork for it. And during one of those breaks during quarantine, we kind of just like went out for a walk, and I didn't bring my hearing aids because I'm half deaf and I should be wearing them. And we were just talking, like we were just getting ideas for the artwork, and I started getting more and more excited and started talking louder and louder. She was just basically like, Jacob, like be quiet, like you're yelling in a very small neighborhood. And we just basically were like, oh, that could be like a name for a record, and we kept going with it. So we changed it from Small Neighborhood to Quiet Neighborhood. And it kind of just made sense because the record is very much about, you know, confrontation, and I just imagine the record being in such a small neighborhood like that. Like I grew up in a small neighborhood. It's kind of like I kind of imagine like a mom and dad yelling at each other, and like the neighbors hearing them, and it's like, keep it down, like pretend everything is okay. Just pretend everything's okay and don't disrupt the peace. And this record is very much like I completely disrupted the peace.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't know. It's so fitting, and I think you can put a lot of different meanings to it. But that's mine.
Okay.
Wow. Oh my God,
and then just cool. Any meaning behind that cover art?
Yeah. So the cover art, when the record's released and you look at all the single artwork, the cover of the actual album, there's a piece of every single. Like there's a piece of every single art, if that makes sense.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Like Crawling has a record on it, so like the orange record on the cover of the actual record, Yelling in a Quiet Neighborhood, is there. You have the rope, so you can see the blue teal rope.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some Barbies, which is for another song that's coming out. That's like the best cover art. I can't wait till Just Be Friends comes out. Just Be Friends is coming out October 16th. So that art is my favorite one. It's the most ridiculous thing you'll ever see.
I'm so excited to see that one. Yeah.
So what song on this record took the longest to like come together as a whole, and then what was your favorite off of it?
Longest to come together is Talking to the Ceiling, because that was written in 2018.
Okay.
Wow.
And I wrote that. Yeah, I wrote that with Carlo Colasaco and Eric Paquette, who also wrote Ghost with me. So we kind of wanted to do another song, and then we recorded it in a recording studio in like 2018, late 2018, and then waited on it. And then I came up with all these songs for the record. And when I sent the whole like Dropbox file to my management, they were like, Talking to the Ceiling should be on the record. So we then revamped it and whatever. So that definitely took the longest.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, Monster, is really good. It's a piano ballad. It's super sad and short. It's like 2 minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, though, they're all, for once, like they're all my favorite because I made them all. It honestly is. Rope is really, really fun to play live. We got to play that live. It's so energetic. But Monster lyrically is really good. And it's also like one that my voice is really front and center, which I rarely do. I usually have a lot of things going on in both ear holes.
Okay. And then since we're talking about the record, I actually want to ask, you've got a single, Scatterbrain. Is that just like, was that just standalone? Was that to bridge the gap between the EP and album? Or was that in the sessions with the EP?
I wish it was that planned. It was not. So basically that was the first song I wrote with April. Because she came to one of the shows in like November of 2018. And then I was like, we should write. And my publisher, Sony TV, has a building in New York. So we wrote there. And we just kind of wrote the song together, and we really liked it and produced it out. And RCA, who we were signed to at the time, they enjoyed it and they wanted to put one out. So that's what we went with.
All right.
Solid. So is there a certain feeling you want your listeners to have while going through this album?
Not that I want them to. I want them to feel something. I hope they like listen to it and kind of get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing specific that you should feel. It's whatever you feel when you listen to it. I really enjoy actually hearing people's opinions of the songs and their feelings towards it not being what I intended at all, because it's kind of cool to see that it can affect people in that way, you know, that they can put their own meaning to it. And that's kind of like the point of music. I do write very, I'm going to attempt to say this, autobiographically. So it is definitely personal and about my life, but if someone can take it for their life, like for Scatterbrain example, like I wrote that just being frustrated with not having a lot of creative freedom when I went with being signed. You know, that was just me being a little bitter, but it was what my feeling was. But a lot of fans like message me and say, you know, I had enough with my job, and like that this song makes me feel like that. Like it makes me feel like I don't need to put up with my boss. I'm going to quit today and try to get a better job. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That's better than being a little bitch about your record label.
All right.
Okay.
So this question should be like super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words.
Oh boy, real quick. Yeah.
Real quick.
Me. Closure, pain, and acceptance.
Okay.
Oh, I like that one. Okay. That's good. That makes, yeah. All right. That fits perfectly. Good. So how did you choose the track list for this album? Did you just kind of shuffle it together, or did you take like hours to kind of fit everything together like a puzzle?
There's a couple different versions. I like to put it in like iTunes and then put it on my phone and listen to it through, and then, you know, kind of see if it makes sense. But really, I wanted it to be the journey of like what I went through during the time. Like the first track is the start of my experience of what I was going through. You know, like Crawling's the first track, and it's just like, okay, I'm leaving the label. What's going to happen? Rope, like I'm now in this position in my personal relationship, and okay, what am I going to do here? And okay, now here's what happens to my personal life. Here's what happened. Now I meet this person. Now this happens. And then by the end of it, it's like, okay, like, you know, I made it through that. I'm still here talking to the ceiling. Done. I wanted it to be more chronological.
Okay. We've never gotten that answer before. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of just happened. It was interesting, but I think it's definitely a timeline. If you listen to it from start to finish, it is a timeline for sure.
All right. So I know you haven't even released this record yet, but is there anything new on the horizon? Anything you're working on?
Yeah. I have about 280 voice memos and a lot of lyric ideas. I have like 3 demos finished so far, so I'm definitely already working on the next one, especially with not knowing about the touring and if you're going to be able to even go out and support the record like that. So I'm definitely always writing, and I have some ideas of what I want to do next. It's much like Yelling in a Quiet Neighborhood. It's very close to that. I'm also thinking maybe releasing some singles after the record that may be like kind of like B-sides to the record, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right.
So actually, before you go, Gloria, you brought up B-sides. Were there any songs cut off of this record, and would those be the ones that we heard?
It wasn't like a concept record, so I didn't have songs that were on the record and then cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have other songs that are finished that I wrote with other people, that I wrote myself, that they didn't need to be on the record. The ones that needed to be on the record, they're on the record.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, makes
But
sense.
None were cut. No.
No more. Okay, wonderful. So, where do you see the project in the next 5 years?
Hopefully just continuing. Hopefully writing. Hopefully having. If it's 5 years, hopefully having 4 more records out.
4?
One a year. I would hope at least 1 a year.
Right.
Okay.
I want to be in that album cycle. I want to be, you know, every fall release a record. That's definitely my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be touring a lot. You know, Andy Black caliber tours would be nice, so I can kind of expand fan base wise. And we have a great core fan base too. I mean, with the headline tours that we've been doing, every tour that we've had, it's been getting better and better. So hopefully that just keeps growing, and hopefully more people get, you know, they feel a connection with the music and just keep sharing it with their friends, and I can continue doing this. I like to make like, you know, minimum wage throughout the year so that I don't have to work, and that's it. My goal, man.
Yeah.
My goal is that it's there, and then I'll go from that.
Spoken into existence there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want like some like $1 billion house in like LA or some shit. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I do want to live by the ocean at some point, but that's like 25-year plan.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it happened in 5 years, that wouldn't be better.
It wouldn't be the worst thing, no.
Exactly.
But honestly, I don't
you
think
take it. It's fine.
I don't think I'd buy the house at the ocean though. I'd probably just save it and keep doing, because when you're hungry, you write really good stuff. It's the truth.
Okay. I haven't heard that one yet, but cool.
So was the entire record written hungry?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have never been hungry, let me tell you.
Oh my god, solid.
It happened, but I was young, so my body didn't know it yet. But now I'm a little bit older. I feel a little bit older, so yeah. No, I'm ready to go. I feel very determined. So.
All right.
Wonderful.
So for the last couple of questions, we're actually going to shift away from music and go straight to death row. So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Oh shit. It'd probably be a hamburger with peanut butter and jelly, because they're delicious, and I know no one thinks that, but they're so good. They serve them at restaurants, and I do it at home all the time. They're so good. Try it. Make the burger, put the peanut butter and jelly on it, and the peanut butter's warm. It's so good. And the drink, I'm gonna die, so probably rum.
Okay.
So wait, my girlfriend lives in Pennsylvania. I've never heard of this. Is this just some like whack ass Pennsylvania thing, or?
I think that you hear the restaurant Aruga's.
No.
No, there's a restaurant called Arugas here, and they have them. And I tried it on the menu once, and ever since I've been doing it here.
All right, because she's like right on the border.
I learned this this was like quarantine food.
Oh my god!
All right, she's like right on the border, so maybe they're not as whack over there.
No, we're whack. We're whack. Central is it's not whack. It's not. I actually love the town that I'm in. But yeah, we just heard. I forget who I heard it from. I think it was Kevin Salem. There's like Pennsylvania. There's like Pittsburgh, and there's Philadelphia, and then there's just Alabama in between. So it's kind of like that's where I'm at.
All right.
Solid. Never heard the peanut butter and jelly burger before, so that's new.
Right. No cheese though. That's gross.
No cheese. Yeah. That's where you draw the line.
Line is at cheese.
Line is at cheese. Solid. Okay. So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
If I can live where?
In one fictional world for a week.
One fictional world.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I'm really bad at these questions. In one fictional world, like meaning like a cartoon world, or meaning like anything, I can make anything up.
You can make it up.
Make anything up. Or cartoon. It's your choice.
I'd probably live in a Fairly Odd Parents world.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I would want, and I'd have to be like under whatever age it has to be to have fairies, because I don't want to be like Dinkelberg.
Yeah. That'd be
sad.
That'd be really sad. Yeah.
What's his name? Like Von Strangle, whatever his name is. You guys know the cartoon?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Wait.
I don't want to be the really jacked guy that talks like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
All right. So I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person we've spoken to says the most important question.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite color?
Is black a color?
Sure. I say so. Glory doesn't.
It's a shade.
Okay, black is actually the void of color, so I don't think it counts. But black is number one. But I really like teal.
Oh, taste. Yeah, teal's great.
Yeah, I like teal. I have teal's
a good color.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
No, listen to the album when it comes out on the 16th, and thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it, and no, just watch all the lyric videos too. We put a lot of work into the lyric videos, a lot of work into the single art, and if I had one thing to tell you, it'd be to listen to the record from start to finish and get the experience of the whole album, because they're not, it's totally a record.
Yeah, for sure.
First record, so.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us. This has been Kulick and We're the Good Noise podcast.